What are you guys
traumatic.
seeing in your marketplace right now? What's happening in the market? I mean, rates are down, which is
We are on
definitely
fire.
fueling the market.
We are on fire here in Brevard County, Florida. We can't keep a listing again. We're still not getting multiple offers, but depending on the price range, anything under 500, multiple offers. But even the other stuff, I mean, they say market-wide with 30 days on the market, but I would say everything's about 5 to 10 days. 3 days,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, we have in San Diego, there are just under 1,500 single family homes on the market in the entire county.
Is that
If
crazy?
you add condos and townhomes, it goes up to 2,000, but that's probably about 1/5 of what
Yeah.
would be a normal amount of inventory.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy.
Well,
Which
it's
is
tight. They got to
unbelievable.
loosen this up. At some point, they got to loosen it up, right? Let's see what.
Yeah.
700,000 this morning. I showed a house for 700,000. I was the first agent in it. Ran into the seller leaving. They decided to go out of town for the next 3 days. They had 85 showings as of now. The last weekend, the same buyer was in it, 103 showings. We're doing all cash offers, waiving inspections, waiving everything, proof of funds. We were 90,000 over and still not winning.
I thought you would have told them that you run a weekend getaway concierge service and that you're going to, limo them to wherever they're going while they review your offer, and that you're going to hold on to the keys and take care of everything.
I wish. This guy was, I bonded with the guy, got bonded. We were the only one that did meet him, but my buyer's a doctor and they're the same kind of doctor, and my guy's retired. So at least I know they can put a face with it, where the other
Right.
79 right now don't. So
I love
Definitely
that.
helps.
Did
One
you
little
guys
thing
see-
to point out real quick though, with that story, I want to say something. We put one pending here just a few days ago, and while showing the homes, the seller was there. And I made sure my buyer made no mention of renting it out, made sure no, we were not investing. No, this is a personal home that they're moving into. And I made sure they were clear on that. And sure enough, they were out in the driveway right before we left. The seller came out and she said, "Hey, we heard that you guys were going to live in it. That really matters to us. We've lived in this home since it was built." And then, of course, when we put up the offer, we got the home. We've included the big picture that she talked about. She had a picture that she took of an island, looked just like Pete's background, gorgeous. But we included that in the offer. Again, same thing down here, 5 offers, 10 offers, things are going crazy. We got that one off 25,000 off ask price. So remember, you guys, talk, if you have the opportunity and your clients are talking, make sure what they say is very important to instruct your clients on how to talk with sellers, because I will tell you, that was how we got this house. Is they wanted that picture, and they're living here full time because they're a real family. They're not an investor.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, Cam, because you never know who's listening. A lot of people have devices in their house, and you have to really coach your buyers in this type of market on and pre-frame the expectations due to the fact that they may go in and start saying the wrong things. And sellers take things personally. I mean, you could insult them. They could say, "Hey, I hate the green cabinets in the kitchen."
Yeah.
And the people went out of their way and special ordered it. And that makes them shut down. I mean, you have to pay attention to the details, and you have to personalize the offer. Make sure that you are sending in a picture and personalizing that offer, where all they're doing is complimenting and sharing with the seller why they love their house and how they see themselves living there and so forth. I mean, we all know majority of the times at the end of the day, price speaks volumes, but sometimes it's just connection too, and who they feel the most comfortable with and who's going to be honest and easy to deal with, right? So you want to have everything pulled together, copy of the deposit check, have a big, like Bob Barker Price is Right check that you hold in, bring it over to them. And what I used to always say to when buyer offers, you guys, is in California, it's 3%. In Tennessee, it's 1% that they have to do for the earnest money deposit in escrow. Put down 10%. If they're putting down 20%, put down 10% or put down the whole 20 in there. Guess what? If you have 3 safety nets, you have investigations, you have appraisal, you have financing. If it doesn't work out, they can't keep the money as long as you stay in your timelines. That's why words matter on contracts, but that's how you're going to separate yourself. Have a copy of the Bob Barker check, have a copy of their pre-approval, have their story, map it all out, find out what's important to the sellers, and play to their hand. And that's a really big thing. Thank you for saying that, Cam, because this market is challenging. You know, some offers have, I mean, some houses have 5 to 10 offers on them. Some have 50, some have none. I mean, it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It's hot and cold. And that's why Matt's squinting all the time. Matt's he's squinting, looking for the details. We got to get him some glasses. But that's the deal. I mean, look at Dave. Dave's he's out there in the wilderness. He's going up ski slopes, trying to find luxury homes, and people are dropping their keys. He's picking them up, all types of things, right? That's what we have to do. Randy's out on the beach as usual. He's trying to track down all the investors. He's got one of those things, scanning the beach for keys that he can find houses. You know, he's out there shuffling away with the headphones on, and Brian's in. Okay, so now we can start. Everybody's on. We're ready to go.
Pete, I don't know. You look like you're getting younger, dude. You look better and better every time I see you on Zoom. I don't know. Are you doing something with Zoom? Is it a filter or is
This is the real deal. Listen, there's no filter here. There's no airbrushing. This is the real deal. I just have a killer tan going right now. And thank you for saying that. I'll send you the $100 after the Zoom. Mitchie, let's introduce to everybody what we're going to talk about today, because I think this is a very, very important topic in this environment right now in real estate.
So today we're going to do unique marketing lead generation ideas. So we always talk about your standards, open houses, and we've talked a lot about internet leads and stuff like that. But you know, there's so many ways to generate leads in real estate to do your business. And I deal with it every day when I'm talking to different agents who, you know, one of the things that I've learned about lead generation in realtors, Kev, you're always smiling. Are you taking edibles again? You know, it's not about what there is to do, it's what you will actually do. And I can teach any single person. I just had this conversation with an agent. I can tell any agent exactly what to do to make 30, 40, 50 sales a year. Any agent, I don't care who you are. I don't care what your background is. I can give you 2 different pathways, depending on how long you've lived in your area to get to where you need to go. And if you implement exactly how they're designed, you will do it. But the reality is 90% of the realtors I teach that to, 95% won't actually do the work. So my job has been over the years of being a coach and an instructor and a broker and all the crap I've done, a hairstylist, is to find out what you'll actually do. So today I wanted to throw a lot of different ideas out that are things that may not generate, like open houses I know can generate 24 to 30 sales every year consistently, but things that might generate an extra 4, 5, 7, 8 transactions a year. So Matt, I know you have to leave early, so let's get you rolling first in on this thing. Okay,
so one thing that I've been working on this year, I do a lot of kind of old school stuff, which is direct mail. I've showed you guys the stuff that I send out through Real Estate Marketing of California here in San Diego, which does stuff all over the country. I know David Lawson uses them in Park City. But I've also just started and so that's just like a monthly farming thing. Let me show you one of them just real quick. There we go. So these are stuff that I send out, and it's a 4-pager. I've showed you guys these before. I'm always careful to put testimonials on there and whatever my pitch is, right? You know, selling your home in one weekend, multiple offers, etc. But anyway, what I like about these is these are on autopilot. I don't have to do anything. They go out every month automatically. I think these cost like $1.40 a piece, which is pretty cheap. I know Dennis D'Souza started doing these down in Crown Point, and he's gotten like, I think he told me he got his 3rd or 4th listing from it, which are like $2 million, $3 million listings. So that really works. But what I've been experimenting with this year is Google pay-per-click, going after buyer leads. I'm experimenting with doing YouTube video ads on YouTube, and that's going after sellers. And then I've also found a company called Letter Labs, which is LETTR Labs, and they do handwritten notes. So these are just a little handwritten, basically postcard. It's got a real stamp on it. It's hand addressed to the people, the homeowner, and I've been just getting lists of people. It's Letter Labs, but with no E after it. It's LETTR.
Okay, I was testing you.
Okay, but I got a few listings. I did an experiment back in like December, or actually January, I take that back, January. I sent out some handwritten note cards around my listings, and I got a couple listings from it. So I'm just trying to do that. I'm just experimenting with different messaging. The messaging is basically, you know, I just sold one of your neighbor's homes. You know, we had multiple offers, and we had buyers that are, you know, we have buyers that are still looking in your neighborhood. You know, if you're considering selling, I'd love to talk with you. You know, I can give you your home's value and offer, and also describe specific tactics to still generate multiple offers. You know, send me a text or give me a call. It's that short and sweet and simple. And I feel like that might be a really good way to find, you know, listings are in such short supply, obviously, but to find that needle in the haystack out there, right? Of a person that's thinking about selling, because every seller would love the idea of, gee, if these people already have buyers for my home, why wouldn't I call them? So I'm experimenting with that. I think right now we all have to be really mindful of budgets. Those cost, I think, about $1.10 a piece or $1 a piece, somewhere around there. You know, postage has gotten, they're raising the price of postage. Anyway, but so that's what I'm doing. It's kind of old school. The YouTube and the pay-per-click are kind of new. I've also hired a inside sales agent, really nice gal who lives in St. Lucia down in the Caribbean. And I'm paying her $6 an hour, and she works 40 hours a week and just follows up on all the leads. Pay-per-click is expensive as far as an average cost per click here in San Diego. It does vary all over the country. But you know, it works, and we're in the lead generation business, right? So that's why it's a really good topic today.
On that note, Matt, it's really important that if you're going to do pay-per-click marketing, that you have an ISA, that you hire an inside sales agent.
Yeah.
You're throwing your money away. You know, you guys know that's my background. And the reality is with pay-per-click marketing, it's great. But it's, you know, if you're not doing it correctly, it's about 1 out of 150 leads becomes a sale. Even if you're really good at it, it's only about 5 or 6 out of 100. That's what
You got to sift through a lot of, you got to definitely sift through a lot of leads, no doubt.
Yeah. And
Maybe one of these days
about that, Mitch, talk about that process too, because I think that is a unique way where somebody can make an investment in Google pay-per-click, but you do have to be right on it and be good at conversion and be relentless. You know, kind of talk about that real fast.
Yeah, so it really works into, if you follow any product in the world, has the exact same sales process. Capture leads, what we do all day long, right? That's our business. Capture leads, nurture leads, which frankly most of us suck at. Close a lead, they become a customer, which we're pretty good at, and then create a customer for life, which we all suck at, right? So I mean, that's just the reality. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. So the key is, the reason why the ISA is so important. You capture lead, I believe you should still make the first phone call as the agent. Because that relationship is important. Then you set the standard and the expectation. Hey, look, I know you're not buying for 9 months based on our conversation. My assistant from St. Lucia is going to be calling you. Don't tell us she's from St. Lucia, of course. Is going to be calling you to keep in touch, make sure you're getting the right things all the time. Her name is Sue, and you set that expectation. Now, if you're going to have the ISA call first, it's a different conversation. Hey, this is Mitch. I'm Matt Batty's assistant with the Matt Batty Real Estate team. And by the way, you say that even if you don't have a team, you are the team, right? And there's now, and then you have to call that person within 24 hours after your assistant calls to build that relationship, because they're going to go on other websites. So I always tell people this: average sale time for an internet lead is 233 days. That means people will buy tomorrow and people will buy in 5 years, right? 233 days hasn't changed in years. I've been doing this study for years, and here's the scenario. So I talked to somebody today. So I call, and Pete's an internet lead because he decides Nashville sucks. He wants to move to Florida where all the cool people are. And so he calls me up, and I call. He was on my website. Hey, Pete, we talk, and he said, well, I'm not buying for 6 or 9 months. Okay, great. The average realtor will never call him again. Yep. Well, if you see anything you like, I'll set you up getting listings. If you see anything you like, let me know. That's the end of it. 5 months from now, they're on Matt Battiati's site, and Matt calls them. Are you working with anybody? Or which realtor are you working with? Nobody. because they don't remember me. They're getting listings from me, but guess what? They're getting listings from 4 or 5 other realtors too.
Mhm.
And now Matt builds that relationship. Matt sells that house because I didn't nurture that lead. So important to nurture. So since you're not going to do that, yes, look at my eyes. You are not going to do that. You need to hire an inside salesperson to make those phone calls for you. So that's process.
So my question is, if I join the Matt Battiata team, do I have to shave my head to have the same look as you and Mitch? Because is that the team protocol?
I
That's
might
the
just
first
start,
question.
I might grow my hair out. I'm tired of all the comments.
Hey, the second question I have. for both
Hold on.
Matt-
Pete, can I add some? Somebody was talking
Sure.
about ISAs. We were talking
Sure.
about that.
Yes.
A couple of my friends of what they've done is they've teamed up with 2 mortgage companies. And the mortgage reps are calling the people as the leads are coming in.
I like that.
Because now they have a double win. They can get the pre-qualified, they can get the animal, they can criteria them, they can put them in their drip campaign, they can put them in a credit repair if they need to do. And now these mortgage people are nurturing them. So they're working them and literally they're ISAs. And they know that where it's coming from, because the more they're closing, the more they're going to be able to give more mortgages to the person. So they are using 2 people that are looking for leads. They're giving them the leads and they're letting them work them. And then it
But keep
comes
in-
back to them.
Keep in mind, Lurchy, on that, just again, from experience, we did that originally before I went and hired ISAs. I partnered with mortgage people, the same as realtors. They don't want to call leads either. And so they'll do the same thing. They'll make, so here's the statistics. 42% of all leads are never called. And the rest of them are called once. You're going to get a hold of 20 to 21% when you make your first phone call. But if you call 4 times over 8 days, every other day, 4 times, our average is 60 to 70% contact rate. If you text, you get a hold of 35%. A lot of people do I call it chicken shit marketing, right? They'll do texting instead of calling. And if you text, you'll get a hold of 35%. Those are just the stats. And we were doing 10,000 leads a month, so we know that our numbers like the back of my
And
hand.
I think, Craig, it's a good point. I think they're going to do it until they start doing loans and actually start processing their own loans, and then that follow-up starts falling off, right? Because then all their attention is going to closings, just like agents, right? We know why do agents go like this, up and down in their production? Because they get excited about a couple of escrows and they forget about all the activities that got them to that escrow, right? So then they hit a valley again, and it's like, so I agree with Mitch. I think it's a temporary solution, but I don't think it's a long-term solution.
Yeah.
But
The one other thing on ISA,
Yeah.
just throw it real quick. It's better to have an inside licensed ISA than outsourced. Now, most people are going to outsource, and I understand the cost factor is great and stuff, but here's the difference, and this is, I believe, why we had a 6% conversion rate, is our ISAs were all licensed, and they could actually talk real estate. It's a difference. So if the person asks them the customer asks them a question, they can respond to the customer, whereas an unlicensed person can't. And we've done both, by the way. We've tried both. You can still do well with the non-licensed one, but the licensed one also, you can pay a small base plus part of the commission. So you basically pay on productivity too. Just I like the license personally, but unlicensed isn't bad either.
Mitch, can you share, I'm sure you have some kind of form, being the godfather of online leads, on what you would pay the ISAs if they're in-house, based on how much a week and how much on the bonus and so forth, because that is a big thing to do.
It depends on your market, right? So San Diego market's a lot different than Brevard County market, right? Your average price is $1-2 million. Our average price is $375. So we were doing here, so you could get away with the same thing pretty much, but we were paying a base of $1,600 a month with 5%.
Yeah, that's how we were doing.
One thing I would add, Pete, is for an ISA, first of all, you got to get somebody that is experienced at following up on real estate leads, whether they're licensed or not. You've got to train them. Really train them. And I put a lot of time into training this gal that I hired. And I went with her because she had experience in following up with real estate leads. She used to work for, I think JoJo Labs or Ylopo or something like that. And she also does not have hardly any accent. She sounds like she's American, which is just a function of kind of the way St. Lucia is. But the critical thing is really training them. And what like I said, I'm paying her basically $6 an hour, and then she gets a 3% bonus on any deals that close.
Oh, that's
So,
cool. Okay,
yeah.
good. And did you put it, can you put in the chat the ISA company or the VA company that you use?
Yeah, I didn't actually use a company. Well, I kind of did. So let me put it in
How
there.
did you find her?
I found her through a company called Agent Launch that's actually owned by an EXP agent,
Okay,
who happens to, I don't remember his last name, but what they do is for 6 months, they build out your pay-per-click campaign. They help you hire an ISA. So I don't know where they hired this gal from, but I got some candidates that I could interview and then train and so forth. They also help train. Let me type it in here. The guy's name is Eric. He's Canadian. But it's Agent Launch. He's Canadian, but he lives in somewhere down in Mexico.
Yeah,
But it's a
I've
good
met with him
company.
before. He's a good guy. I met with him.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I can't remember his last name. Eric.
I don't remember either. Yeah.
I don't know, Mitch knows all this stuff because he's done it over and over and over, guys. And
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people on this call that may say, well, I don't have that budget, or it's not in my budget. You know, then utilize your lender and ask the lender, do you have an in-house ISA that you have trained to follow up on leads, and see what they say. And if they say no, then say, go find one or go get one. Put it on them because you're giving them loans. That's another way to do it. I think that's really, really important to get that set up. Dave,
The guy that let me just throw in one last
Go
thing
ahead.
because I got to jump off, but the guy that I work with at Letter Labs, really nice guy. His name is Reed Rainey. And
Okay.
I think if you go to their website and if you tell them I referred you, I think they give people a discount or something. So
Well, last time I told somebody that you referred me, they doubled the price. I don't know what the deal was on that. I mean, they said, Batty, out of what? And they said, oh, we got a special deal for you.
It's
And then
such
they
a deal.
gave me a carton of cigarettes. I don't know what that symbolized. So anyways, Dave wanted to say something. Go, Dave.
Yeah, what we did, and I agree exactly with what Randy said. Your mortgage lenders, they're not going to make the phone calls. So what you do is you go to the company that they work with and find out if they have a call center. We work with Intercap, and Intercap has a major call center, and what they do is they charge the more, I give them all the leads, and then the lender pays the call center ISA. And so that's what their job is, to call everybody all day, every day. So they're not selling real estate. So that is a big, big thing.
is it Intercap Lending?
Yeah. INTER capital CAP. And Matt, they have an office in
San Diego?
San Diego, and I'm going to be doing a training down there in the next month. And so anybody in San Diego, you guys, you want to be down there?
Yeah, we'll be there for that, Dave.
I'll
So
give
do
you,
the loans, Dave, do the loans go to Intercap Lending mortgage brokers?
oh yeah. Yep.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Love
And
that,
then
Dave. That's awesome.
a couple other things. I want to just, it's already been said, Matt and I've talked about it, but these 4-page brochures that Real Marketing, I got 2 listings last week, one at 2.2 and one at 2.9 off of this in Jeremy Ranch. They really work. They're very effective, but you're not going to send one out and get listings the first month. It usually takes you 3 to 5 months. Now, if you have a name or you are marketing into a farm, you can get it faster. But if you stick to this, and when you talk about, so in this, there's 660 people. So call it $800 to $1,000 a month. And then, a few months later, you're getting 3 listings. You can't beat it. So I just wanted to share that. The other thing is with your ISAs, one of the things that we do is 3 times a week, I do a 15-minute role play, or basically it's a check-in with my team. And I make my ISAs to be on those calls all the time. so that I don't coach people one-on-one. I coach everybody all at once.
Love that.
And
Dave,
the
is
other-
there a way if anybody wants to tap into that, would you allow them to jump on that Zoom and be a fly on the wall?
Yeah, it's not on a Zoom. It's
Okay,
on a
fine.
call with a code, but if you guys want to, I'll just type in my email address, and anybody that wants to get on that, you will learn some great stuff about how we talk about things and so on. Okay.
And you know, for people who are new on this mastermind, I know you're probably sitting there going, why are these people sharing all these things? You know, we come from a place of contribution and collaboration. We want to share with you the things that work in this market so you can 10x your production. That's what this is all about. We're not holding back. We're not saying, oh, I'm not going to share that. As you can see, Dave's inviting everybody to everything. Then it's up to you to take action and actually get on that call or go to his training or event or talk to Matt or Mitch or I or Brian or Randy or Lurch or even Cameron. You know, everybody has unique skill sets, but I think that's really, really important when you're trying to look for ways to generate, you know, unique ways to generate leads in this market. That's what it takes. You know, you have to listen to these. Everybody's been around, and look, there's no magic bullet. You know, Dave's doing the direct mailers. Some people may say, well, I don't have the budget to do a direct mailer. That's okay. There's a thing, I don't know if you guys ever saw it before, but it was created back 2008 by some guy named Steve Jobs, and it's called a smartphone. And the reason why it's called smart, because if you pick it up and you dial someone, they answer typically, or you get their voicemail and you can leave a great message, right? And it costs you zero. So just keep that in mind. So you have to look in the mirror and say, what am I doing to generate leads? Go ahead.
Everybody,
Go ahead, Randy.
when you're putting comments, please make sure you go to the to field and pick everyone, because no one is seeing what you're posting except the hosts and panelists right now. So David, if you can repost your email and change the to setting to everyone, that would be great. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I will do that. Thank you.
Dave,
Okay.
when you get that number, put it in there with the code if you can. That would be great.
Okay. Also, I have developed a piece that I've been using for about 15 years, and this is it right here. And what this is, just so you know, is you can't tell, but it's big. It's an 11 by 17, and it's a trifold, okay? And when you fold this up, it is on what's called a number 16 envelope. I'll just say that probably nobody on this call has ever gotten a mailer or a piece of mail that is this size. And it gets more listings for me than any other mailer that I have. Okay, so what you do, and I use this for sell by owners. I use this for expireds. But the other thing that I do is, so I'm on the phone with Pete. Hey, Pete, guy, great to talk to you. You know, are you thinking of, you know, you're in La Jolla, but you know, you got this property in California or in Park City. Any chance you want to sell it? Well, no, not really, but
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh,
You know, we've been kicking it around. We've been kind of using it here and there, Dave. So I'm just not sure right now.
yeah. So, you know, I'm going to just send you something and whatever, right? And you mail this to them. And you know what I do? I go on listing appointments, and I know because we change these about every quarter with updated information, stats, and so on. I see these that are 1, 2, 3, 5 years old, and they call me because they kept this piece.
Yeah. Dave, can you put that piece in the chat so somebody can see the example? Do you have that ability? If not, we'll put it on the tribe. We'll figure out a way to get those pieces.
You know what? I'll get Drew to give me. I'm at the beach house, so I don't have it with. I'll have to get it, but I'll figure it out. I'll do it, and I promise you guys, I'll get this to you next week.
Yeah, so we need that. That would be great for next week, and we need the call-in number for those just so people can be a fly on the wall and hear how you practice scripts. Good. Okay, Brian,
And then
I
the
know
other
you have
thing,
something to add.
then the one last thing,
Whoa,
one last thing. This is a document that we call just the facts. And if you saw my presentation on how I take 100 listings a year, this is critical. So if you send just one mailer, you get a little bit, but if you send 2 of these, you get a lot. So what I do is after I talk to somebody, especially if it's an expired, I mail both of these on the same day. This gets to somebody in 1 to 2 days. This takes 3 or 4 days. So I talk to you today, tomorrow or the next day, Pete, you get this, and 2 days later you get that, and then you're starting to remember who I am. And it's very effective. So, all right.
that's awesome, Dave. Thank you for coming from such contribution, helping everybody on this call. It means a lot to all of us. And I think these people can put it right into action and really enhance their production. Brian Yarber, who's out in the wilderness in Montana, he's come down from the mountain. He's going to bring all types of unique lead generation. Brian, what do you have for me?
You know, these calls, Pete, you said something that's so important. These calls turn into collaborations, which turn into just amazing masterminds, because I've watched conversations now go from a start of a seed to bear fruit. And it's really cool to watch. So if you're on this call and you're getting something from this call, the smallest idea could turn into your biggest year-end moneymaker. And I would encourage you to invite more people to get on this call, because we've already heard some nuggets that can double and triple your business if you apply it, right? So that's what this is about. So I want to share some ideas. The first thing that I heard is Mitch was talking about the incubation period. 233 days, I think, is what he said. So if you know the incubation period in your marketplace based on a buyer call or a internet lead, then what you're going to do is you need to set up that incubation period, because if somebody is able to do this acquisition faster, let's just say there's nothing wrong with that. But if you know it's going to take an average of 233 days, then that means some are going to take longer. Some are going to do it shorter. So what you want to do is put into place a plan. And what we were listening to was what Randy was talking about and Dave was agreeing with, is the lenders. So if you don't have a lender who's going to make those follow-up calls for you, what you want to do is start to partner even with another agent who's good at follow-up if you suck. That's really the goal. You're not good at it, but you're good at maybe generating the lead, or you're generating. So there's those buckets, right? You've got your opportunities. Opportunities, when handled correctly, are going to turn into a lead. And a lead is somebody who would just follow up. That's just somebody who follows up. So if you have somebody that would just follow up in that incubation period, now you're setting appointments, and the appointments are maybe for a lender or with a lender, because I'll give you an example. If you give them a plan of action, anybody who you talk to, you give that client a plan of action. I don't care if they're a listing aid, a seller, or a buyer. They need a plan of action that you can follow up with. And that follow-up action is, I'll give you an example. Let's just say you're not good at setting up anything and you just pay $250 a month to do Make It Rain. You're just getting 15 to 20 leads a month, and you perfect what you say on those leads. Okay, what you say matters. How you say it matters more. Give you an example. If you get really clever at what was it about my ad, or what was it about that house that caught your eye, and you don't say anything else, they're going to give you a nugget, something of value that they've never given another realtor. And that's going to generate the opportunity for you to follow up and say, well, hey, as an expert in area, other than RV parking or other than a view, what else is going to be important in a property to you? And you do that once or twice, and all of a sudden they're going to be like, wow, this person knows I'm looking for RV parking. How'd that happen? Because I asked the right question. Okay, so when you ask questions properly, what you say matters. You'll invite feedback, and then you stop You log it and say, what's the best way for me to follow up with you? Get real information, and now start your plan of action approach. Don't try to show them property. You're just doing them a disservice if you take them out and show them. Now you're going to set together a plan. So have a plan that you can quickly go to, or if Matt was here, I would say that ISA has to be brilliant at getting a nugget and getting a plan of action in place. So that client now, all their goal is to follow up with you. And that becomes a really good lead. A lead is somebody who will do what it takes to get to a position. And then you start asking them questions. Would a seller even choose you today? Do you even know what it takes to impress a seller in today's market? Let's get together and go through that plan. So I like it when clients are real with me. If I know they're 9 months out, I say, good. I say, it's good that you aren't ready to go look at houses tomorrow, because if you think you're going to see a house that's going to excite you, you're going to start doing the work that you should have done 6 months ago. So I'm going to put together that kind of a plan and get really good at that. So if I'm a newer agent, one of the things that I would do right now to get more business is I would drive around a farm or an area where you call your area of expertise, and I would call all of the listing agents who have out of area phone numbers, an area code that doesn't match up with the area of the property. And you just call them. You say, hey, I see you've got a listing on this street and you're in this zip code or you're in this area code. Let me ask you, who are you handing out all your sign calls to? I'm an expert right here in this area. I've already previewed your listing. I would love your sign calls. I see you're an hour and a half away. Would you like to partner with me? I'll give you a 30% referral fee. And in a moment's notice, you might have a client that you want to sell it to. Call me, I'll partner, I'll be your showing agent. I specialize in this area. Just go ahead and give me a call and use me. Send me a text if you have a buyer lead sitting out front. If I'm in the area, I'm going to run over, I'm going to show it for you. And then if you write a deal, just pay me a referral fee. I'll be your showing agent. I would get really skilled at that, you guys. Because if you start to look at how many listings are on the market that are with out of area agents, those agents are throwing those buyer leads and sign calls away because they're of no value to them because they don't even live or work in the area. So do that. Start doing that right away. Get in the habit of doing that and watch what happens. Because if you go over and show somebody else's listing for them, you're going to begin to start getting some buyer leads, probably from a skilled agent who's going to be able to set the hook and give you those names and numbers right away with referral fees. So that's what happens.
That's awesome, Brian. I love that one. That's a great point. You can put that into action. It costs you nothing. I've done it time and time again, you guys. And what I usually do is I call them and I compliment. Now, a lot of times they don't pick up the phone because agents are renowned for not picking up the phone or returning calls. So then I text them and I say, this is who I am. I'm dying to talk to you. Congratulations on your new listing. It looks awesome. I'm here to help. I'm the expert down the street. Would love to help you in any way possible. If you need somebody to go over and check on the house or this or that, or sometimes I used to even say, hey, I noticed, the sign was down or the flyers weren't there or this, or there was trash in front of the house. I'd love to help you out. You got to come from a place of being helpful to them and then connecting with them and then branching into, hey, I want to be your referral partner down here. And I'll do the same when I have somebody up there. Because everybody is listening to one channel, WIIFM. What's in it for me? That's it. And if you approach it that way, I'm telling you, it'll create business that you never ever expected. And that's gold right there. That's a nugget that costs you nothing. You're not putting any type of investment out there except a phone call, a follow-up, and being consistent and creating a relationship. That's it. I love that.
I have a whole different angle to share if you guys are open to this. So, most of the things we're talking about are going to be more of a long-term play. So you got to, first of all, understand that it's not going to happen overnight, right? So whatever you commit to, stick with it for at least 6 months minimum to really get the results and start tracking the data and see where you want to put more money towards, right? But one thing that I, as you guys probably already know, I work with investors, right? That's always been kind of my bread and butter. I do a lot retail, but a big percentage of the things I do are with investors. So one idea that I did in New Jersey when I was getting into the business. I started a little real estate club, right? And I invited everybody I knew, realtors, investors, contractors, lenders, anybody. And then I partnered with some of the key vendors and asked them to market it as well, and said, and I painted the vision like, hey, I envision just having a get together with people in our industry where we can share ideas, educate, and no sales. We're not going to be selling anything. It's all value, value, value. And let's start small. So we started from a small event, then led to a bigger event. And within literally 2 months, we had 100 people, to the point where we actually started offering buffet, because we knew it was a smart out-of-pocket expense. And we let people come in for free. And they all thought we had a hook or something, like, wait, what are these guys doing? But we knew this is a marketing expense. What people want is to get together in person and have dinner, because this was at 6 p.m. at night. So we had a full spread of buffets, and we all partnered together with other vendors. The point of it is that you don't need to do it that big, that quick. You can literally start from a happy hour place in the back of a bar somewhere, or a restaurant that's not being utilized on a weekday, because we only do this on a weekday, usually Wednesday nights, and a lot of places are not busy. So you can start from a small little back room of a restaurant or a bar, and partner with some of the people and peers in your sphere to do this, right? But you should be one of the people in front of the room sharing, right? Because if you're in front of the room, you automatically build authority. And when people see someone in front of the room, they start believing you, and hopefully the things you say are ethical, right? And you bring value, right? And the moment you start doing that over and over again, once a month, that's all we did, once a month, right? Check this out. I'm going to share you a link to where this group is still running to this day. It's ran by my buddy, John Steingraber. He was my first business partner. And it is the largest meetup network group, I think, that there is for real estate in New Jersey, at least. If you click on the link, it's got 4,264 members now, right? It's like easy. He gets 200-300 people every single month, and it's paid to access it. But it took us from that small little event that we started back in 2008 to get to where it is, of course, today, right? Where it's on pretty easy to put on events. But what I would suggest, if you really want to like think long-term, again, this is a long-term play, right? And you want to become the authority in your local area with investors, specifically, let's say in this case, or even non-investors. But in my case, we were focused on, because we also do flips. So we were looking for, how do we raise money for our flips? How do we find more investors that will, wholesale deals to us? How do we find great realtors that will come to us with opportunities? So we were looking at it from more of an investor standpoint. But if you're an agent looking to work with investors, and guess what? You partner with another investor to run these little groups, this little meetup, and that can turn into something bigger. You can have your agenda could be, how do I find investors that I can do deals with, right? Who can I list their homes for, right? So your intention could be a very different, which is what I do now in San Diego. So in San Diego, I have a much smaller group. I started 8 years ago, and I mastermind for my investors is invite only. And I do a monthly Zoom with them, and I just give them updates on the market. So to this day, I'm kind of capitalizing the same idea I did years ago in 2008, but I'm doing it in San Diego, and I started it very small, same thing. And what you can look for, if there's coaches in your area that coach people how to flip homes, right? That's actually a really great person to start networking with, because a lot of times they're going to have local people, and those local students that are being taught how to invest, flip, and wholesale, they need realtors as part of their network. And if you could be the go-to realtor for that coach, when they sign up a student in your local market, and you can say, look, any student you sign up, I would love to nurture and help them and see if I can maybe help them with some deal analysis on top of what you're doing. That alone can lead to literally them introducing you to future investors, right? And it's like agents. We all started from doing 0 deals, and then next thing you know, some of ours become superstars. Same with investors. You have to be very strategic where you spend your time, because some investors will never do anything, and some will take and run with the things they're learning from their coach and generate seller leads that you can then partner with them. So you got to be strategic where you spend your time. But I can guarantee you, when you get into these networks and you also start potentially your own group to nurture them, you will get repeat business from investors. It's guaranteed, right? It's just how much time are you willing to put in, whatever strategy you select from what you're listening to, right? So just think about, get creative and understand, what is your goal? Do you want to work with buyers? Well, implement that and go all in. Do you want to work with investors? Listen to some of the things I'm sharing and feel free, reach out to me and I'll tell you in more depth of what I'm doing and how I'm achieving that, right? If you want to get seller leads, well, listen to some of the things you're hearing here. But I wanted to give you more of a, outside the box, because I know that was one of the main topics today, is like creative ways of gaining business. And I truly believe this is something that very, very, very few people will ever do. But the ones that actually do it will have massive success. And I'll finish with this. One of these coaching companies that I am now friends with, that launched a coaching company in August of last year, created such a massive partnership now, which I had no idea that it was going to lead to that when I connected with them. They are now, they just got I think 80 students that are going to be learning how to be investors in San Diego, and they're doing a bus tour on Saturday. And guess who, on April 29th, and they need a realtor to find them 3 properties so we can open the doors to properties that are on the market that need work. So these students can walk through these houses with their repair estimator and actually do a real life analysis of a deal of what it could look like if they were to actually submit an offer on it, right? And guess who's going to be the realtor helping them opening the doors to those properties? And how much did I spend to be in front of those 80 students? 0. It's a relationship with an educator that needs help from someone that is an experienced agent in their area that also works with investors, and they know that I do. So just, it could lead to so many things, and I'll stop there, but that's just an example of what's literally about to happen in 2 weeks. I'm going to be in front of, and the way I look at it, those investors, maybe 10% of them will actually become successful investors. However, they are people, they live somewhere. They might need help from an experienced agent, because I don't just say I'm only working with investors. I make sure they know that I work with retail clients. So they might need me to help them sell their personal home. They might want to buy a personal home, right? They know people I don't know. So now they're part of my sphere. And guess what? I will get their contact information. And do you think I'm going to stay in touch with them? Absolutely. So you never know what that can turn into, as long as you have an open mind and have a strategy and a plan of how you're going to follow up and all the things we talk about. So I'll stop there.
I think that's a great idea, Randy. Thank you for sharing that. I would just add upon it that, look, he's got a captivated audience of 80 people who are trying to get into investing for one reason or another. There's no competition. There's nobody else that he's fighting with. He's getting belly to belly with them. I'd bring all the drinks. I'd bring all the food, because when you're on a bus and you go into different places, you get hungry and so forth. But what I would do too, and I would just add upon this, and I'm going to share this with Randy, because I'm always thinking about marketing, is I would buy those Yeti cups, and you can get them for $10 a piece. They're not the Yeti brand, it's a different brand. And I would have it that says like Randy knows investing, or with his number or something like that, and give each one of them that to have their drinks while they're going around, because they're never going to throw it away. And guess what's going to always be in their kitchen? What's going to always be in their cabinet? Randy Z is the place to be, right? He's going to get you the place to be. And that's what I would do. And they're never going to go without him. And guess what? Even if you get 10% of the people, you get 8 investors. Most investors are going to do multiple deals a year, especially if they're really buying into that. That's a no-brainer. You guys, you're not creating the wheel, and you're not competing with 30 other people on Zillow or 30 other people on Redfin or online. He's got a captive audience where he can show his expertise He can team up with them. He can advise them, and he can say, look, guys, I don't normally do this. I'm going to give you my personal cell phone number. It's on from 8:30 in the morning till 6 o'clock at night. Text is always the best way to get me. Phone's the second best. Email's the third. Here's my card. Here's my personal number. You call me if you have any questions at all on any type of inventory you're looking at. I'll do a whole breakdown for you and a comparative, like an appraisal like analysis, so it'll help you make the right decisions. That's like gold.
I love it. I love that idea. I'm gonna get on that now. And Kelly wrote she used to go to that meetup that I founded back in 2008. So they're still going. He's only doing them like once a quarter, Kelly. So keep at it. Go to those meetups or start your own. Better yet.
You guys start your own. You can go to meetup.com. You can start a meetup for anything. Start it on people who love dogs or like to kite surf or photography or anything. It doesn't have to be about real estate. You're going to get a captive audience on something that you're passionate about. They're going to see how authentic you are about that. And that's going to build a relationship. And then they're going to count on you for all their real estate needs. That's it, because you have the relationship. And you do that meetup group every week. It doesn't matter if 2 people show up. You have more time to talk to 2 people. Doesn't matter if 1 person shows up. You can go one-on-one. If there's 100 people, you just rotate around the room, handing out stuff. Hey, I'm the one who's in charge of the meetup. That's the deal. Look at Cam's getting fired up. I'm starting to go. Cam, bring us into another unique lead marketing type of or lead generation system right now that people can utilize in this market.
All right, let's leverage off what you were just saying there, right? Community events or neighborhood events. And Brian, the idea of calling out, I got to say this first, but the idea of calling out of town clients or out of town agents blows my mind. I love the Eddie, but it blows my mind because we have so many agents that are listing property on the west coast of Florida that are from the East Coast. So I love that one. But one idea here that I really want to kind of throw into everyone's mind, and there's been good stuff today, but the local library or the local bookshelf for a neighborhood, it makes you become the go-to person because everyone in that neighborhood goes, what is that thing? They go look at it, they open the bookshelf, your names and all that, and you put in, $100 worth of books maybe, and that makes you a figure. And then remember, you guys, you combine this with everything else. You do your mailers, you do your circle prospecting, you're going to the HOA events and the community events, and you're putting yourself in front of these people. And you do this stuff and you can quickly take over a neighborhood because no one else is doing that, you guys. They're not putting in the effort. One thing that's really important, though, is consistency. Everybody's said this, but consistency is so key here. If you start kind of, marketing a neighborhood and you start doing prospecting, but you only do it 1 month or you call 15 people, it's not going to work. It's just not going to happen, you guys. So you have to be consistent. And you have to pick one of these things that you'll do. If you think putting out a little bookshelf's cute and you like the idea of books and kind of becoming the neighborhood realtor and you're willing to do that, I guarantee it'll work. I actually got that idea from Michael Catali up in Tennessee. He's implemented it and had actual great success with it because no one knew who he was. He was a brand new realtor and he started doing this, started going to events, and the name recognition as well as the prospecting, it caught on very quickly. And you can do it for one neighborhood after another as long as you have the time to do the prospecting. Now, also remember, guys, with that, that's just a lead gen idea. The next thing is once you do get that listing, you need to be talking to everyone about the idea of moving up, moving down, what they're trying to do, how you can help them as well as not just being a local agent. You can help them move across town if they need a bigger home or smaller home. And you have to be creative and be more than just the person or their local neighborhood realtor, because that is also a creative way to turn one client into multiple clients. The other thing I had that I want to be quick on, because I think we got one more guy, is school sponsorships. David Johnson in Georgia has been doing this with huge success. As soon as he did this, he sponsored one of the schools for one of their big events. Obviously, it takes a little bit of funds, but one of the school superintendents, guess what? The first person they called when they were desperate, because they were trying to find funds for these events, and he was able to fix their problem. The school superintendent ended up listing their property with him, and it covered the cost like 5x just with one deal. And all it was is because he's willing to go out and help people. Just another idea. So if you want to sponsor schools, that kind of stuff, they do work. Everything does work. You just have to be consistent with it. And then obviously, put your time into it if you are going to spend money on it. Because like you guys were saying with the Google leads, if you spend the money on the leads and then you don't talk with them and they go to waste, you've just wasted your money, time, and everyone's money. So make sure you choose things you're going to be consistent with and then put them into action. You're muted.
Sorry.
Muted,
Love
mute.
that.
There
That's
you go.
great stuff, Cam. That's the way to talk about it because, you know, people want to usually work with agents that are hyper local in their community and really get their community. That's a big, big thing, right? It's one thing to show them data and show them stats. It's another thing to be completely immersed and involved in the community. And you can do it for short money, right?
One other thing too, you guys, it's not expensive to do that because you're doing it in person. You're using your time. That's the expense. And again, when you're trying to dig up business, you can use that. The in-person events are so important, and you don't have to go to them all the time. You don't got to go to every HOA meeting. Go to one a quarter, but it's just putting your face so that they know that event or that little library box, that is you, and you're a real person. And you're there to help, and you just want to talk to everyone, hand out your card, and be the face of that neighborhood. It's a great way to introduce yourself to neighborhoods that you've never been to. And the other thing is, you don't have to live in that neighborhood, right? It doesn't have to be the neighborhood you live in. You can go to a neighborhood that's maybe a higher dollar value, somewhere you want to become the agent in. Something to think about.
Yeah, and you know, Mark on the call asked, you know, what about neighborhood events? And I thought that was a great question. You know, we do a big yard sale event in a lot of the neighborhoods. So it'll say like Pete knows yard sales or Middleton team knows yard sales. And we go out and we just get buy-in from the whole community. We do it one Saturday from 12 to 4, and they have to put up our signs everywhere so they know what places are open. And then you could do an electronic recycling event. You could do a community meetup event for Halloween or Easter or any of those types of things where you supply the jumpy or the face painter or cotton candy machine. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. See, Lurch is ready. Look at him. He's getting ready, right? All this stuff's going through his head. Craig Lurch, give me some unique lead generation things that people can use today, starting today, to get business.
First of all, if you're not having your teammates or your assistants rewatching this and taking things out of this weekly, you're losing a lot. I have my VA on here. She's taking notes. She's texting me, and we implement what we see here by putting big rocks. So I wanted to throw that. Number one, we're all out on social media. Get on social media, start doing pop-ups. Go to local businesses, cut a deal with them saying, look, I want to buy ice cream for all the kids or anybody that comes here for the next hour. Get on live social media, say, hey, I'm here for the next hour. This is what we're doing. Anybody that comes and gives me this special word, I'm buying you and all your friends ice cream. Come and see me. I'm at this local place, blah, 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 blah. And there you go. Now people are following you. Now you're live. Now you're getting algorithm and people are seeing you. It will repost out to your Facebook showing that you're doing things for the community. And that person's going to tag you. If they can then go live and get on there saying, hey, by the way, so-and-so's here and you mention them. There's one idea. Number two, something that I took from Brent Goves a week or so ago on his attraction call. One of the things he does with his kids, he pays his kids $500 every book that they read that he gives them. He goes, I can spend more money on that than they're going to get education in college and all the above if they're reading the right books. So something that we've done is the local libraries in the area. I actually own some Rita's water ices in the area. If you don't know what that is, it's water with flavor and all that stuff. Look it up on the site. But bottom line comes down to it is they used to have the local library that would come to us and have a reading class. So what we're doing now, took this idea, we're spinning it now, doing it the first and second graders. As you read books in the summer, your parents give you points, you turn it into us, we're giving you free coupons to go to My Rita's Water Ice and get free water ice. Do it with another vendor. I just happen to own these stores. Remember, we're in the business of making money, changing lives, and having fun. Find a way to get to the kids, it will come to the parents, and live in abundance, and that's what we're doing right now. Living outside of the business, just trying to get community and showing what we're doing.
I love that. I love that. We're right at our time, you guys. And I think we're going to have to extend this into next week. That was gold, you know, and just keep in mind, I'm going to add on to what Lurch was saying. A lot of communities have bookmobiles. I think they still have that where they'll come around to certain neighborhoods and they'll have library books inside and kids can go in and pick the books. I mean, at least it had it in my neighborhood. I mean, it was bulletproof, right? It was all bulletproof. But and you had to get frisked at the beginning of the mobile. No, I'm just joking. But the thing is you can find a lot of ways to leverage it with kids and parents because you want to get to know the kids and the families. That's the big thing, you guys. You got to be connected. So I thought that was great. listen, this was a great mastermind. If you guys aren't getting nuggets out of this, something's wrong. Invite everybody that you know to this mastermind. Don't be selfish. Say, hey, show up on this mastermind. There's some phenomenal ideas that this is probably 300 years worth of professional experience here, giving you, great things you can put into your business today that cost you nothing, that'll make you money. It's a great investment. Invite other people. I want everybody to bring 1 or 2 people to the Zoom next week. And let's really ramp it up and help each other be productive and be successful. All right. Listen, everybody was great. Thank you, you guys. Thanks for the ideas. Thanks for showing up with contribution and collaboration. Next week, same time, same place. Let's have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.
See y'all. Be blessed.
Bye, guys. Thank you, guys.